What's going on, world?
What's happening?
Casey Vibe back for yet another podcast. We're on episode
Dang, what episode is this?
12, I think.
12?
Is it episode 12?
One deuce? I guess so. Yeah,
We're
we
on
did 11.
episode 12, and as promised, today's episode is going to be how we turned our test into.
A testimony.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So go ahead, get what you got to get. Enjoy this short musical interlude. And
Yeah.
and we'll be back in 1 sec. And just like that, we are back.
Like we never left.
Yeah. So, whenever we're looking at our podcast topics, right, we try and find should we call it a quote?
Yeah, quote, the
We try
saying.
something that fits in with kind of like what we're talking about. You know, something that you guys can key in on. So, as we're looking for our quote for today's podcast, the one that stood out the most was this one. You ready?
Go ahead.
It says, "Your story is the key that can unlock someone else's prison. Share your testimony."
Mm-hmm.
You want to run that back one more time?
Go ahead.
Your story is the key that can unlock someone else's prison. Share your testimony.
Share your testimony.
Crazy, right?
Can I get an amen?
Wow, babe. So, with that being said, let's dive into our story.
Yeah.
Right?
Where should we start?
Where should we start? Let's take it back to, what year was that? 2014?
Yeah, it was 2014.
2014?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time where our relationship was tested.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Our faith was tested. And it just seems like everything around us was just kind of crumbling down.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on in 2014. 2014 really changed our lives.
It did. It really did.
Yep.
And, I mean, we're honest with the people. I wasn't sure if our relationship was going to be able to overcome that.
Yeah, withhold
the storm.
The storm, yeah. What was going on.
And we're in the process of a lot. You know? We're in the process of you transitioning out of the military, not sexually.
Nah, I ain't never that. Now, hold on now, bro. I ain't gonna be none of that. No disrespect to the LGBTQ community. But I ain't on that level now.
We're in the process of you transitioning out of the military. And we're at a point in our relationship where, honestly, we had lost focus in one another.
Yeah, we did. I mean, that, like I said, there was a lot going on, you know. And I wasn't expecting to get out the military that soon. And so, you know, I was panicking because she was pregnant. We found out she was pregnant.
Yeah, we did.
And it was like...
Baby number 4.
Yeah, number 4. And it was like, man, how the heck am I supposed to be able to support my kids? And they ain't got no job. So, yeah, it was a lot going on. And we didn't know where we were going to go. Because at the time, we were still in Georgia. And we had nothing going on.
So we got to the point where you were working at Aaron's?
Yeah, I started working at Aaron's.
I was working at CVS.
Yeah.
We still had bills due. Still had 3 other kids to support. There was a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And I tell people a lot, the best part about hitting rock bottom is there's no lower, you can't go any lower.
Yeah,
Once you hit rock bottom, the only place you can go is up,
that's
right?
true. Definitely true.
So we kept a lot of stuff that was going on with us under wraps.
Yeah,
You know,
didn't nobody know.
nobody knew that we were going through as much as we were going through at the time that we were going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And the craziest part about it is during that whole time period, there were other people that I was talking to, helping them with their relationship and stuff. Meanwhile, I didn't know what direction my relationship was headed in. It was the crazy part, right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, because that situation, really put stress upon us, and me stressing out even more, not knowing how I was gonna support my family, caused her to stress out. It wasn't good. Wasn't good.
That's not why I was stressed out.
What
I was stressed out because at the time we weren't where we needed to
needed
be.
to be? Yeah.
Like we weren't seeing eye to eye, and it kind of goes back to what we talked about in our old podcast, right? Because like we told you guys, when we talk about stuff, it's because it's from experience. And this particular experience was we weren't communicating. We weren't talking to one another. We weren't discussing the issues that we were having. We were just kind of burying them under the hatchet. And those issues were kind of like snowballing into a
Yeah.
bigger problem till it got to the point where it almost broke us.
Yeah.
So we did that for a couple months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Pretty much.
then
Yeah.
one day, my mom calls and she's like, I don't know what it is, but I know that there's something going on.
Yeah. Like she had a vision or something.
And I'm like, we're good. We're good. And she was like, no, you're not. And that's when they were like, y'all should come down here, move to Kansas until y'all figure out what y'all gonna do.
Let me tell you, did you want to move to Kansas?
Heck nah.
We did not want to move to no Kansas. I was like, man, look, I am here in my home state of Georgia, not too far away from Atlanta, not too far away from my people. And this is where I wanted to get out at anyway when I got out. Man, moving to Kansas with Dorothy and Toto?
Yeah, I just
Nah.
and me, I didn't want to move back home. Cause one thing about it, once you've been on your own, you don't want to go back to living at your parents' house. So I was like, nah, I really don't want to do that. But then it's like we one day decide to wake up, right? And we're like, if we're gonna make this work, we're gonna have to make this work. And we decided for the benefit of us, our
Mm-hmm.
kids,
Mm-hmm.
and the baby that was on the way, we're like, maybe, just maybe, we need to make this move.
Yeah. It wasn't an easy decision. I mean, because the bills were still coming in,
Yeah.
but the income was not what it was at before.
And it's not like before it was a lot of income.
Yeah, but it was even worse. I think I was making about like $10 an hour.
Yeah, it was bad. So we packed up.
Hold on.
What's it?
Before we go there, we're gonna tell
Yeah,
them
pack up.
how this thing actually worked out, how everything just fell into place. Look,
That's all right.
okay, we packed. You ain't gonna tell them about how everything fell into
Okay,
place with
go for it.
transportation and all that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, let me drop my nugget
Go
first. When God has an ultimate plan for you, He is going to force you to go in the direction in which He wants you to go. So no matter what you try to do out of selfishness, if it's not meant for you to do, it's not going to happen. So we are trying to do everything possible to keep from moving, right? And then one day we just woke up and we were like, you know what? Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
Now, before let's take it back. Let's take it back.
Okay.
Before you got out the military,
Mm-hmm.
we sat in the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the one thing your leadership told you?
Oh, they told me I wasn't gonna be able to find a job.
Told him you will be lucky
Yeah,
if you get hired as a manager or something at a restaurant.
yeah,
Pretty much saying you ain't gonna amount to nothing,
yeah,
right? Chad's
yep.
home of record was Georgia, born and bred. So when you get out of the military, they'll move you one last time, but they will only move you to your home of
Home
record.
record. Yep.
So here all this stuff is stacking up against us. And we're like, oh, we're gonna have to do a Diddy move. We're gonna have to do this, that, and the third.
Hold on. Some folks don't know what a
I'm
duty move
sorry. We're
is.
gonna have to do a do it yourself move.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to move ourselves. We're gonna have to cough up all this money that we already don't have. So who turned you on to CCA?
Your parents.
So there was a jail, right? I'll let you tell
Yeah.
CCA story.
Well, what happened was is that I was like, man, ain't no way. I'm looking for jobs all over the place in our area. Nobody's hiring. They want all this experience. And the only thing I really had was the military experience that I had. And the experience that I had as in the military, I was a 88 Mike, which is a motor transport operator, aka truck driver, in simple context. So I'm like, okay, driving trucks, I won't mind doing that. So I put in to be a truck driver, to do the CDL thing, but I couldn't pass the medical exam because of my high blood pressure. I had very high blood pressure. So I couldn't pass the medical screening for that, and I couldn't get hired nowhere else. So, um, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they told me about this job, this corporation called CCA, Corrections Corporation of America,
Mm-hmm.
and they basically is a company that contract different jails and prisons and stuff like that. And they was telling me about one in Leavenworth, Kansas, and I was like, we're not moving to Kansas, so they gotta have one close by in our location. And I found one. I found one. It was in some part of Georgia, like in the boondocks of Georgia. And I had an interview there. I applied for the position, and they interviewed me, and they wanted to hire me. But the problem was is that the goddamn place was almost 2 hours away from where we lived at, and I was like, man, I don't think this is gonna work. And then they were only paying like $1 more than what I was getting paid at errands. I'm like, I don't know if this would be worth it. And I was like, golly, man. I said, I really don't want to move to Kansas, but I tell you what, I said, if I call up there to Leavenworth, Kansas, and they are willing to interview me, we'll go. Because I already knew if I got the interview, I was going to get the position. So I called up there. I refilled out my application to that particular place in Leavenworth. And they called me back the same day and was like, hey, can you come in for an interview tomorrow? And I was like, well, I don't think I can make it tomorrow because right now I'm still in Georgia. And the lady was like, the HR lady was like, well, when can you be down here? I was like, can I call you back? She was like, of course. And I was kind of like, what, is she going to let me call her back? So I called her, after I got the phone from her, I told Kanisha, I said, hey, look, this is what's going on. They want to interview me at the CCA in Leavenworth, Kansas. I said, are you willing to go? And at first she was still kind of like, nah, I don't want to move no Kansas. But like I said, we started seeing the income and the expenses, and it wasn't matching. So she finally hopped on board. I said, here's the other problem that we finna run into is with transportation with the Army. Because them mugs only going to move me to my home of record, which is in Atlanta. Well, close to Atlanta.
It was 3.5 hours from where we were living.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, god dang, man. I said, how we going to get our stuff there? People, let me tell you what happened. I called transportation on Fort Stewart, Georgia, and told them, hey,
Our final move.
You guys owe me one more move because I already out, and I never used my final move. I said you guys owe me one more move, and the lady was like, okay, where you trying to go? And she was like, and I was like, trying to go to Leavenworth, Kansas. And she was like, according to our paperwork, we can only send your stuff to Fort Gibson. And I was like, golly, man. I was like, I, I really need to get to Kansas. So the lady was like, hold on, let me see something. And she came back and she was like, okay, we can get your stuff to Kansas. I said, what? I was like, in my head, I was like, what? This ain't supposed to be happening, you know? But it was happening. So she was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and schedule transportation. And this was on like Tuesday, I believe. And she scheduled transportation to be in my house on a Thursday. So I'm gonna tell you, folks, they came and they packed my stuff up. Matter of fact, let me go back a little bit. So after she told me,
part.
what you mean I missed the
You
part?
missed the most important part.
What was that?
At what moment did you see that everything was gonna be okay?
At what moment? At that moment, to be honest with you, at the moment when they told me that they can pack my stuff up.
No.
What? Okay, what are you referring to?
It was way before then.
Okay, remind me.
It was before transportation, before the job opportunities. You were sitting in your car.
Yeah. I had a. I told God. I said, look. I said, give me a sign that things are gonna be okay. I said, give me a sign, please, that everything's gonna be okay. And it's bright as day outside, guys. It's like in the middle of the afternoon, and I look out my window. It was cloudy. It was cloudy. I looked out my window, and the clouds started to separate, and the moon was shown to me. The moon. I'm talking about the real moon. And I was
Not
like,
the fake moon?
not the fake moon. I'm talking about the real moon, but the moon is fake anyway. But I'll get to that later. But it was like it was clear as day. Like everything just moved out the way, and the moon was right there, and that was a sign. Hey, everything's gonna work itself out. And I was like, okay. I said, okay, cool. That's when I realized everything was gonna be okay.
So here it is. Within a week, we decided to give ourselves a second chance, second go round. Transportation came, completely.
Hold on, let me get
packed
back.
our stuff
Let me
up.
get back with that. Before transportation came, before they showed up, I told the lady, I called HR back at CCA, and I told the lady, hey, I'll be there Monday. I'll be there Monday. So she scheduled me in for Monday at 1 o'clock for an interview.
So let's do this. So now you have to realize that whenever you're going through a situation and the situation is starting to get better and you think that situation is going to be great, there's still going to be certain daggers that are going to be thrown at you to try to throw you off your game a little bit. We had to clear our house and leave, right? We are leaving out of Georgia on a back road, and the U-Haul trailer that is carrying our second vehicle chain pops and starts sparking on the ground. So we pull over with barely any cell phone signal, and this was the wild part. Middle of the road. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
No, nothing around us. I called 911 to try to get some help. 911 tells me to hang up and call back because they can't locate the cell tower or location in which we are calling from. So after a while, a cop finally shows up and helps us there, but we were stranded on that road for about 2.5 hours. And that's when we started thinking, bruh, is this the move we supposed to be making? Are we making the right move right now? Because here it is, we barely out the border of Georgia, and we already at a halt. We already at a standstill. It's
Mm-hmm.
cold outside. We're broken down on the side of the road. We can't just leave our car there and the U-Haul there. We're gonna have to pay for that later on. So what are we gonna do? But once again, we're like, you know what? We're gonna keep pushing. So a cop ends up showing up. He was able to drive out some, get in contact with dispatch. They were able to get somebody there to us, fix the U-Haul and all that. So 2.5 hours later, we back on our merry way,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And we make it here. What was it? The weekend.
Yeah, it was a week. It was like a Saturday. We got here on Sunday.
So the whole drive there, it was about 16, 17
Yes,
hours.
about 17. Yep.
It gave us time to just talk.
Mm-hmm.
So we're making plans. We're making goals. Like, we're going to get there. We're going to stay at my parents' house. Because we were blessed. My parents opened their doors to us. Because my parents is like one of the only ones that actually knew our situation.
Yeah. And hold on. Don't forget, we were traveling with 3 babies.
Yeah.
We were traveling with 3 babies too.
And they're the only ones that actually knew our situation. So we're like, we're going to have to find a way to get a place of our own. And we made a goal for ourselves. We're like, you know what? We're going to celebrate this Christmas as a brand new start in our own place. You remember that?
Yeah.
So we got there, was it October?
Mm-hmm. It was October. Yep. Because I started a job on the 27th October.
Before Thanksgiving, we were in our own place.
Yeah. And not to mention, y'all, like
the blessing of our own place.
Yeah.
Was another thing. Because the house that we got, we, again, trying to get our money right, trying to find somewhere. We're like, we could have stayed down here in the boonies. It was this rundown, honey looking house that we looked at first. My mom was like, yeah, I don't know about this one.
It had a little attic area.
Yeah, it was
in the
honey
ground.
looking. So the house that we ended up moving into, you guys, get this, was on the market for $1,600 a month.
Uh-huh.
$1,600 a month. We got it for what?
$1,000.
$1,000 a month was our rent.
Yep.
So they knocked $600, and that became home for the next 7 years.
Yeah. But let me also mention the fact that the job came from making like what $12-13 an hour to making a little bit over $20 an hour with all the overtime that I can have.
And life slowly started to come together.
Yep.
Right? That right there was a time in our life, though, that we were at a very dark moment.
Yeah.
We didn't know which way we were going to go. We knew that at the end of the day, we could only go up. But it really is a time in our life where we're like, we learn to appreciate that time, and we take every opportunity that we can now to give our testimony. And hopefully let that key right there, the R pass, unlock you guys' prison.
Absolutely.
Because I know there's someone out there who's going through situations. There's someone out there who don't know where they're going to go next. There's someone out there who doesn't see a way out. There's someone out there who's like, I'm stuck here. I'm just here to tell you, bro, you are not stuck.
Nope.
You are not. We came from not having a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of to being consumed with nothing but greatness. We have manifested, prayed, and have faith on a life that is greater than we could have ever imagined. Everything down to the house that we live in now. We purchased a house. We're able to purchase a house.
Mm-hmm.
In freaking the COVID time frame.
Yeah, and that was crazy.
We were able to purchase a house that, again, was a blessing that was laid in our lap.
Yeah.
Because once you start having that faith and once you start manifesting that greatness in your life, that's all that's going to follow you. You just got to be able to take that first step, right?
Absolutely. And look, we kind of sugarcoating a little bit because let me tell you, we were way behind on our rent at that time in Georgia. We were in the middle of getting our car repossessed. You remember that?
Yeah. The only reason the only reason they didn't repossess our car because they couldn't find it.
They couldn't find it.
But the thing about it is, we will need more than a 30-minute podcast to tell our whole story.
Yes.
We'll need more than a 30-minute podcast to tell where we come from. We'll need more than a 30-minute podcast to break down the many blessings that have came to us from times where it's like we didn't know where our next penny was going to come from to pay a bill, and we go to
Yeah.
call and pay the bill, and they're like, oh, you don't have anything due this month.
Exactly.
Like, blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings. Before we get ready to end, I'll tell you one more testimony. We might have to do a part two
Yeah.
because we got to get to where we are now. But when we first got married, we had bought everything that we needed for our house, right? And we had nothing left over.
Nothing.
We had no money left
not
over.
a dime.
So we sat down, we prayed. We're like, look, we don't have anything. Like,
Yeah.
a way has got to be made, and that's the thing. We always have that a way is gonna be made.
Yeah.
Because as long as you speak it into existence, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we're like, something's gonna happen. So we feel it. Something's gonna happen. Lord, you know what we need, and I know you gonna make something happen.
Absolutely.
So that same day, we go to church, right?
Yep.
And as we're leaving church, one of the deacons stop us, and he's like, "Hey, I never gave you guys a wedding gift." And we're looking at each other like we never had a wedding.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, well, we appreciate you. And he hands us an envelope, right? And as we get back in the car and we're on our way home, we open that envelope. And in that envelope was a check with enough money for us to last until the next time we got paid.
And they're crazy.
Because we always believe a way is going to be made out of no way.
Absolutely.
And with all the golden nuggets that we usually drop during podcasts, that's one of the nuggets that I'm like, if you don't take anything else from the KC Vibe podcast, just know that you manifest your own greatness.
Yeah, absolutely.
You put the vibes out there. If you are sitting at home and you're like, there ain't no way I'm going to be able to pay this bill this month, guess what's going to happen? If you sitting at home and ain't no way I'm be able to afford gas to go to work tomorrow, guess what's gonna happen?
Exactly. You're speaking that into existence.
There's a time in everyone's life where they have to realize that life and death is in the power of the tongue. Whether you are a spiritual person or you are not a spiritual person, you still have to realize that you speak life and death in everything that you say. You speak life and death over your children, over your marriage, over your job, over your life. You speak that life into you. And if you don't speak that life of greatness, you ain't gonna have it.
You ain't gonna be great.
So next time, I double dog dare you that next time you're going through a situation and you don't know how you're gonna get out of that situation, I double dog dare you to say, you know what, everything gonna be alright.
Yeah.
You know what, everything gonna be more than alright. We gonna get through this.
Don't just say it, believe in it.
Believe
in it.
Believe it. Speak it and believe it. Because as we look back over just the times that we done had in our relationship, we walk in testimony.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you.
And if it can happen for us, it can happen for you guys.
Absolutely.
It can happen for anybody. When we first started this podcast, I had about 3 people who I know for a fact listen to this podcast on the regular. And we asked that, when we first started this, we're like, let us be able to touch somebody. Let us be able to say the right words to someone who needs to hear those words at that very given moment.
Absolutely.
So what started out as us just wanting to, talk to people, tell our testimony and all that, started out with 3 people listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're reaching people, in Africa.
In Africa, yeah.
Now we're getting views. We used to get probably about a good 4 downloads, and then that's it. Now we're getting random downloads every day.
Yep.
The support is coming in. I'm getting messages. Hey, I really appreciated you saying this, or I really appreciated listening to this, and that right there, that's the goal. That's what we're trying to do.
Yes, exactly what we're trying to do, man. And we trying to reach people, let people know that if there's a will, there's a way. Sometimes you got to create that will, and that will come from exactly how you're thinking and how you're speaking and your vibes that you are putting out there. So don't think that hey, you're down and out your luck and you can't do this and that. Start thinking positive, man.
Right, because life is a vibe.
It
That's why
is
we KC vibe. Life
all
is a
day,
vibe, y'all.
all day.
And if you guys have anything you want to add, any questions you want to ask, any advice that you want, even if you want to stay anonymous, go ahead and reach us at askkcvibe@gmail.com. That's ASKKCVIBE at gmail.com. As usual, you can meet.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
usual, you can reach me on all my socials. You can find me at the real underscore knockout on Instagram, or AO underscore KO and the number 2 on TikTok. That's AYO underscore KAYO and the number 2. If you're looking for KC Vibe, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and now you can even find us on Instagram at KC underscore Vibe Podcast. That's at KC underscore Vibe Podcast. And if you're still out there in the world wondering where you can listen to us, where you can play catch up, just Google us, baby.
Google us.
We will pop up. We are wherever you guys listening to your podcast.
Real talk. Now, if you want to holler at your boy, man, you can catch me on Instagram and TikTok at MartyMar86. That's at MartiMar86. And guys, look, you guys stay tuned on all the new episodes. And the only way to do that, you got to hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated with everything that we're putting out there.
Yes, sir. And if you guys are loving what we're saying, don't forget to go ahead and rate us.
Yeah, give us a rating, man.
Yeah,
Honest opinion.
Rate us. Give us a little review. Tell us what you think.
8 more than 92.
Yes, sir. Well, I think we done talked these folks' ears off enough.
We're gonna have to do a part 2 on this one.
We are. There's so much to cover. That 30 minutes is not enough to cover all of it. Like, I feel like we just
this is going
cliff
for
notes.
yeah.
Just
Hey, we didn't even get into grinding details.
I feel like it was cliff notes.
Yeah, because we still getting blessings upon this day.
Yes, sir. We'll talk
Absolutely.
about it some more down the line.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, we will.
Well, people, as always, I am the K.
And your boy here to see.
Thanks for vibing with us.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.